All right, Mr. DJ. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the second day of this event. Please, before we get started, please, if you are at the back, please, can you move forward a little bit? Apart from the first seat for the first row here, you can sit down anywhere but move forward. Apart from this front row here, you can move forward, sit anywhere. Just move forward, make sure there's no gap. All right, Mr. DJ, please, can you come down? All right, quickly, because we're out of schedule now, let's invite those that are supposed to occupy this seat so that we can start immediately.
So once again, I'm saying good morning to you. Welcome to day 2 of this beautiful event, Gemstones Miners and Marketers Association of Nigeria, GMA, first of its kind. Please, without mentioning words, I'm just going to mention some names. Will be recognized by the time we start the program per se. So let me start by recognizing the presence and the arrival of the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Commerce and Industry, Osun State, person of Mrs. Kehinde Odedina. Please can you stand up for recognition? Please, let's jump our hands together. We clapped and let's keep clapping. You're welcome, man. And then before I go to call to welcome all the speakers and the panelists, let me quickly recognize those of the zonal coordinators that are here present. And I don't know you by name, but by the time I called your name, if you are here, just stand up and let us recognize you. Let me start. I know Dr. Tinuke Timitope is she's very much around in the building. Please, let's give her a round of applause. Be the general manager, G-Man, zonal coordinator. Then I have the Southwest zonal coordinator, if you are around, sir. Mr. Michael Etuk. Oh, wow! I love this. Mr. Michael Etuk, please. Okay, you are still busy doing some other things there. Yesterday, I saw this young man, Northwest Zonal Coordinator. I don't know whether he's around now. Unlike you, Abbas. We were together here yesterday. Yes, okay. Engineer Wozun Adose Johnson, North Central Zonal Coordinator. Are you here, sir? You're welcome, sir. Please come to the front. Please. I've been told that you should come and sit at the front. From your general manager. Also not coordinator. Northeast Zonal Coordinator. I don't know if Mr. Idris Awal is very much in the building. No. Lagos Coordinator, Christian O. is the Okafor in the building. They will soon join us. Reverend Dr. Christian Akujo, South Asian Ambassador. We should stop it that way.
All right.
Let's move on.
All right, may we all remain standing as we honor our dear country, Nigeria, for our national anthem.
The speakers and the panelists, that will be after.
Please, let's remain standing as we honor our dear country, Nigeria. Mr. DJ. God bless Nigeria. Please, you may be seated. All right, the program still continues as you said you have the names of the speakers.
Yeah. Let me quickly see us through what happened. I believe the doctor is herself, she's around. So let me call all the panelists before we have the recap. Speakers and the panelists that are around. Okay, they are there. Let me quickly recognize those that they are around there. We have Mrs. Olusheyi Abdullahi, Chief Executive Officer, Christies. Where are you, ma'am? Okay, she's coming. Please let's give them a round of applause. It's not easy. We are here to enjoy ourselves. We are here to learn. We are here to do something. Please be free. Mrs. Olusheyi Abdullahi, she's around. She will soon join us. She's one of the speakers and panelists. Mr. Victor Epayong, representing the Director of ASM, Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel. Mr. Victor Epayong, where are you? Wow! Please give him a sounding round of applause. At it now. You're welcome, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we're waiting for is here. Okay. We want to have.
Sorry, we still have one of the speakers. I'm sorry. Mrs. Todo Taiwo. Wow! What an we've been expecting you. And round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, as the executive still continues. How many of us were here yesterday? Just signify.
Just notify.
Signify. Thank you very much. If you ask me, I was here yesterday and I had a nice time. I enjoyed myself. But you can ask me what really excited me yesterday. From the whole thing that happened here yesterday, the only thing that excited me is the second to the last speaker of the day, when he was telling us something about gemstones. It can be used for healing.
Yes.
Used for this and that. I said,
Pastor or something.
This is another babalawo in the house.
Yeah.
But for us to have the recap of what happened yesterday, I have the singular honor to.
Before you go there, I'm even interested in the senior lecturer from Unijos.
Okay.
Mr. Tiso. By the time he came up with
Mr. Teso.
I love.
Orúkọ Yorùbá ló fi pé.
Ọ̀dà má fi ná Teso.
Atiso.
Àbí Atispo. Oh no, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Recap of yesterday.
Recap of yesterday. Like I told you, what excited me is what I've told you. But Dr. Tino is going to come here. He's going to come. Dr. Folakemi will come here to tell us much about what happened yesterday for the purpose of those who were not here yesterday. So if you're not here yesterday, fine. Please put your hands together for
Dr. Tino Kami, Mr. General Manager, G-Man. You're welcome, man.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us once again today. I'm sure we all have our program of events. We'll see that it's packed full. We have a lot to learn, a lot to share through our speakers and panelists. So, but before we go fully into that, I just want to go through some of the points, some of the activities that happened yesterday for the benefit of those that were not around. So at the beginning of the program yesterday morning, we had a welcome address from the National Coordinator of GMAN, Engineer Adeniro Ajibade, after which we have goodwill messages from stakeholders, government organizations, with support from private sector organizations. We have goodwill message from the Managing Director of NEFZA, representative of the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel. We have representatives from Nigeria Export Promotion Council, also from National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, also Miners Association of Nigeria, the president, has been with us since yesterday. Thank you, sir. Um, the keynote speech was delivered by Prince Adetokunbo Kayode, the former Attorney General of Nigeria, and also the Chairman Board of Trustees of GMAN. And in his keynote speech, he talked about the origin, that is how GMAN was established, and the importance of working with government and with the objectives of facilitating training and policies for people to be skilled on gemstones to make the industry freer and easy for stakeholders to maneuver. He also mentioned that it's important we recognize the potential that the gemstone industry brings, such as job opportunity, empowerment of local communities, and how it can add to the nation's prosperity. He also talked about fostering an ecosystem that encourages knowledge, skill development, and ethical practices across the entire value chain. He also mentioned the importance of technology advancement in the gemstone industry and how about promoting the industry in the international market. Then after that, we had our dignitaries, we had the keynote, also the chief host, the SSG of Oyo State, representing the governor of Oyo State. She was here, and also the commissioner for commerce and industry from Osun State, representing the governor of Osun State, was also here. After which we led the dignitaries to the exhibition stand to interact with the exhibitors, and we closed the opening ceremony with a vote of thanks from the Southwest coordinator. Then the second part of the program started with, which is a stakeholders meeting. We have different stakeholders. We have the commandant from the Nigerian Immigration Service. We have the assistant commandant from the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps. We have the representative of NEPSA telling us the work they do and how they intend to promote the gemstone industry. We have a representative from NEPC and other government organizations, and questions. They made presentations about their organizations and their support for the gemstone industry. And after which, questions and answer session was very inspiring. A lot of information was shared, a lot of questions were asked, and a lot of people got responses to what they have been thinking about. So that was a very key part of the program. Then after the stakeholders meeting, we had a presentation from Dr. Ayo that spoke about uh, gemstones and its healing properties and its importance. I think there is still a lot to discuss on that that we'll definitely explore after today. Then we had our presentation from our very own Dr. Teso from the University of Jos, telling us about the mode and occurrences of gemstones, how they are formed, and the importance. A lot of networking went around yesterday, a lot of discussions, and we've been having a lot of positive feedback too. And after that, we went straight to the GMAN annual general meeting for the members and prospective members. And that's how we had our busy day yesterday. So once again, we want to say thank you for joining us. And also for the participants online, we also appreciate you joining us online. And we look forward to a more productive day. Thank you very much. And before I leave the stage, I would just like to call on Dr. Sorry, the next presentation. Sorry, I missed the name. Sorry, sir. Mr. Victor Efeyo, representing the Director, Artisanal and Small Scale Mining Ministry, Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel. Thank you very much. Please, you can come in for your presentation.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Victor Efeyo, representing the Director of Artisanal and Small Scale Mining Department, Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, Mr. Yunusa Mohammed. I'm here to make a presentation on policies on gemstone mining, the processing and marketing. But before I proceed, let me still go back to what you said. My ZMO said yesterday, anytime you want to mention mines and steel, don't put federal. when it comes to petroleum and mines and steel, since it has to do with the resources, you should not include federal. Thank you very much. Before I proceed, let me acknowledge the presence of dignitaries. You are highly welcome. The presentation, like I said before, is on policies and gemstones mining, processing, and marketing. Can we have it on the screen? So we say, what are gemstones? Gemstones refers to a precious or semi-precious stone, a piece of mineral crystal, to be precise, which is widely used in cut and polished form to prepare jewelry. Some rocks or organic materials that do not fall under the category of minerals, which are also used for jewelry, are often considered as gemstones. There are two main classifications of gemstones, namely the precious and the semi-precious. Those ones considered to be precious include sapphires, rubies, emeralds, diamonds, and precious stones, while others like tourmaline, garnet, onyx, amethyst, topaz, etc., are referred to as semi-precious stones. Okay, let's look at it. Precious stones. We are talking about sapphire, rubies, emerald, diamond. What really makes them precious? What really makes them precious? When you talk about a gemstone being precious, there are some things you take into consideration, like the beauty, how beautiful it is, how durable are they. Anyone you say is precious, it has to be very beautiful. It has to be durable. And it also has to be big in size. The size is also taken into consideration. And you also look at how rare is it, the rarity. Now, those ones you say they are semi-precious, they may lack two or three of these qualities. They may not have the entire four attributes I've talked about. And when we say beautiful, of course, we all know how beautiful gemstones can be, the precious ones. When we talk about the durability, like I've said, durability in terms of how strong are they. And then for those of us who go to the more scale of hardness, you look at those ones you say are precious, like rubies and sapphire. These are stones that comes from what? Corundum, which is number 9 on the scale. Both ruby and sapphire comes from corundum. And even the diamond is the last one, depends on the scale. So that means they are strong. And those ones who are, for those of us here who are gemstone dealers, you know the bigger the size, of course. And if it is very rare, then it becomes very precious. However, this classification is rather generic because precious stones are not always more valuable. Some semi-precious stones can cost more depending on the quality. So depending on the quality of the mineral too, some of those ones we consider to be semi-precious can even be more expensive because it has the size and it may be very rare, not very common, or it might be new. So people will definitely want to go for it and the price will definitely shoot up. Now, there are other classifications of gemstones. Gemstones can also be classified according to grade. There are 4 C's of gem grading, namely the color, clarity, cut, and the carat. Gemstones can also be classified as organic or inorganic. Organic gems are those which creation are associated with living organisms, example, pearls, created by oysters and mussels, amber, ivory, and coral. Inorganic gems are minerals formed within the earth under natural conditions such as diamonds, sapphires, and rubies. Next slide. Next slide. Let's look at the map showing the distribution of gemstones in Nigeria. Yes, look at this map. It shows the distribution of different gemstones in Nigeria, moving from sapphires to ruby to fluorite to zircon to amethyst, beryl, and emerald. So Nigeria is really blessed with variety of gemstones. Next slide. You can look at different states and the availability of gemstones in those states. from Oyo State to Ogun State to Kano to Nasarawa, Kaduna, Kogi, Kwara, Taraba, Bauchi, and Plateau State. This is not, I can tell you that we also have gemstones in other states. Let me not go too far. I shouldn't say here. If you go to Ife, we have Tourmaline there. Let me also mention Cross River State. If you go to Iwuru, if you go to Bubra, if you go to Akbet, there are many places in Cross River State where we have availability of gemstones. We see Paraba Tourmaline. Why? A lot of people say Tourmaline is just Tourmaline. What makes it Paraba? Paraba is nothing other than the name of a mine in Brazil. That is where the mineral was first found. It's a town in Brazil called Paraiba, and it was in that mine that it was first discovered. That's why it's named Paraiba Tourmaline. And what actually even makes it is just the normal tourmaline, but it's colored by copper. When there is that coloration, it could give it bluish, greenish blue, and some other colors. It makes it unique. Next slide. Nigeria is a notable producer of gemstones in commercial quantities and has recently become a destination for gemologists and gem traders seeking precious and rare gemstones. Some of the most popular gemstones found in Nigeria include amethyst, aquamarine, emerald, sapphire, and tourmaline. Each of these stones is unique in its color and appearance, and they are all found in different parts of the country. In addition to being used to make precious pieces of jewelry, many of these stones are also used in traditional Nigerian medicine. Of course, somebody really enjoyed that yesterday, how it is used in traditional medicine. Most of us never thought of that, but it was a real nice one yesterday. I actually enjoyed it as well, the presentation. Nigeria is highly regarded for its blue sapphire as well as large quantities of fine tourmaline. Of course, we can mention Oyo State when we talk about tourmaline. We have good qualities of tourmaline in Oyo State. Oyo State has been very popular. Let's not go to the popular rubellite when it came up. Oyo State is well known for the production of tourmaline and many other gemstones. Gemstones are not very common because the unique conditions that promote their formation are unusual, and the lithologies they are associated with are usually of limited extent. Consequently, gemstones generally occur in small quantities and do not form large ore deposits. Value rather than size is a defining characteristic of gem deposits. The following geological environment and host rocks associations are the most common for gemstone formation. Let me not go into the occurrences because a paper was presented yesterday that has to do with the occurrence of gemstones, how they occur. Next slide, please. Okay. Gemstone mining is widespread in Nigeria and mostly carried out informally by artisanal and small-scale miners, digging pits using crude hand tools including diggers, shovels, sledgehammers. The type of mining is carried out in remote locations by small groups, sometimes members of the same family, who move from place to place in search of gems. Gemstone mines are usually sold for quick cash with little or no value addition because they lack the technical know-how or mechanized tools for processing. Due to the informal and rudimentary nature of artisanal miners, the government cannot effectively track their activities, given that they mine unspecified amount of gemstones and sell them to middlemen who smuggle them to foreigners. Well, this is really an issue because we feel if we can have good record, we can have good data of gemstone production in this country, it will help us get to where we are going to. Because we want to, most times, if you are talking and you want to do so, you can present the data, this is what it is, this is the quantity, this is the amount, not just calculation, what is real. You can really say, based on maybe the minerals were mined, they were processed, or even before process, royalties were paid. Based on the quantity that royalties have been paid upon, one can say for a fact, this is the quantity, type of gemstone that was produced within the country within a so period of time. Since survival, fighting is the driving force of the average artisanal miner, they are often underpriced or duped. Due to illiteracy, the artisanal miner is not aware of the value of gems, so sometimes they are aware. He or she mines herself. It is also difficult for miners to introduce innovative systems into mining to boost their productivity. The artisanal miner would rather spend money on his basic daily needs, for instance, food, shelter, clothing, than on acquiring a mechanized equipment or a license from the government, or even getting trained on some modern methods of mining those minerals. It's always very important. Capacity building. How often do the miners embark on capacity building? Go to institutions, get to some place and say, let's get trained. Sometimes it is assumed we know all, we can do it all, but I think there is need for improvement. I mean, moving forward. Uh, some of the other things that affect the mining of gemstones in Nigeria is first, government participation, paucity of funds, few policies tailored towards the development of the sector, enforcement of already existing regulations, and rules and monitoring and controlling of artisanal miners mining gemstones. Now let's look at the efforts of government in terms of policies. Okay. Nigeria has large deposits of a variety of gemstones, but in the face of all the current challenges in the sector, the country stands to lose a lot of revenue that could be generated from the mining, processing, and marketing of gemstones. Hence, the federal government has put several measures in place to maximize the potential of the gemstone industry to boost the GDP of the economy and promote sustainable development of the sector. Okay, these are some of the policies. Through the Mindarva project, the World Bank established a Gemology Institute of Nigeria in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, to boost the production of the commodity and jewelry industry in Nigeria. A number of young Nigerians are
3 kilometers or meters up there in the sky. Association of Nigeria, Nigerian Bar Association, among others. She is also a member of the mining thematic group of Nigerian Economic Summit Group. So please, let's wait to learn very much this morning. Thank you very much. Good morning. Ẹ káàárọ̀. Please, we are in Oyo State.
Hello.
All right, good morning once again. And my name is Tunde Taiwo. And I always say I practice law and I'm a minor. That's the summary of everything I do. And today we are going to be talking about gemstone exploration, exploitation practices, and compliance to ESG. And I think ESG has become very important, not just to Nigeria, but to the whole world, because we have all seen the impact of mining on our lands, on our in our waters, even tech is exchange commissions, because the rules that we have in Nigeria for ESG are on the top tier levels. And gemstone mining, we are not yet there. Somebody pass stone. That was that. Once they get some stone, they look for where to sell it. They eat, they sleep, they wake up. So we are far away from enforcing the ESG rules. And I'm going to talk about cases in Nigeria. And I think I've mentioned Taraba now. We remember the lead poisoning in 2010 in Zamfara. It killed a lot of people. And UN still says that, you know what, the activities, the effect of that lead poisoning has not been fully unraveled. As they grow older, we will see more sickness in those people's life. It's as they grow older. That's what UN has even told us. So it's not even a case of 150 people died, 200 people died. It's also a case of we don't even know the effect yet. That means we can't even account for what that lead poison is going to do yet, because cancer will come up,
at some point as their immune system begins to fail them. This and but eventually they were able to get some international NGOs that fought for them. The truth is, if it was left to the community, they can't afford lawyers of a US international mining company. They won't. They won't. It was those international NGOs that fought for them, that provided lawyers for them in court, and then they were now paid damages. But the truth is, and that's a case of, oh, eventually we were able to enforce some sort of ESG in our state. But in Nigeria, I'm a church girl, we pray about it, but some things are not rocket science. If you do this, this will work. They are coming to their lives. There's a place in Niger Delta that is gas flaring, and they don't see night because there's gas constantly in the air that is burning. So it doesn't get that. And mining, we think that, oh, is oil and gas. Let's continue. We'll get there if we don't do something now. And I said human rights risks is environmental impact, economy and social disruption. I think I've explained that. The social disruption, nobody wants to farm again. Their lands are being taken over. Insecurity. Now, mining communities are known for insecurity. Zamfara has been shut down. Some police were killed in Shiroro, Niger. We know the gold contents in Niger. There's been fights there. The gold mining that should be happening in Zamfara and Niger, and Shiroro especially, if the royalties are paid, we won't be making much noise. This new administration will not say that there's no money to do anything. But it has caused insecurity. They now kidnap. Even in Oshun, we've started hearing cases of kidnap. And the question we are going to ask ourselves is how? And I think the how is not what we've asked. We've been shouting mayday, there's problem. But the question is, what is the way forward? And I think until we answer those questions, as an industry, we are not going anywhere. Host community being displaced. I think I've explained that. Their farms, their land, they don't go to school again, and then they bring car for the community head, and they will continue working. Then access to remedy. I think that in Nigeria it's been hard to get access to remedy. ESG stands for environmental, social, governance, and governance. I think I share that. And every company should be able to see that what the requirement of ESG now is that for you to assess your company, when you department did a lot of work on registration, they start saying let's form cooperative so we can even know the people mining. We know who we are holding. Let's begin to form clusters. So if they are mining in this place, we can say, oh yeah, when you finish your work, close it. Make sure it's not linking to the stream, because once your mining activity is linking to the stream, it's a matter of time. It will destroy their water. They are beginning to do that. There's beginning to be a lot of noise of clustering, but we don't have those data yet. We don't even know the number of people in each site. We don't know the number of people in each site. One of the former commissioner of Oshu said to me, too, no, I told my guys to raid some places in Oshu that if you don't have license, or if the mining site does not have license, they brought out over 1,000 people. That the mining site they are working does not have any license. So where do we start from? If only that Oshu, they had over 1,000, and that's raiding one area. They couldn't have done the whole of Oshu in one day. And once you raid an area, they tell themselves all over. So all of them will leave work for like 2-3 weeks again. And that's the reality of where we are. So we need to start from the miners. We need to start from expertise. What can we do? Okay, is it me? Mr. Video, is it me? Okay, because you keep doing this and I'm wondering. Sorry. We need to start a waste of time. They will go blacker. It's already a black industry. If you start to just catch them anyhow, it will go blacker. Won't be able to trace them. But if we begin to provide sensitization, you know what to do. Because the question many of them say, we did not know. So if we begin to train you and say, this is what the EMG rule says, this is how to mine itself, this is what to look out for, this is how to make sure that the waters are not polluted. At that point, you have no excuse not to do what you need to do. But miners also need to answer those questions. It is not just about making money. If I want to grow, except of course because we have a lot of miners that they are looking for their urgent 2K, their daily bread. Once they have sold a stone, 50,000 naira, 200,000, 300,000, if they are able to get Paraiba and they sell 3 million, and we all know that Paraiba Tourmaline internationally is not 3 million, but it's a lot of money for our artisanal miners. And so the question was, he spoke about marketing. The question of even knowing the international competitive price is still there. They've not been able to answer that because we don't have the international market. Our international market will still stay up. I promise. I can't promise you. I'm not yet. I'm not in government again. But we worked on the market, and we hope that all the work that we did would actually be implemented, especially the continuation part with this new administration. But until that happens, even trading is far. But miners begin to say to themselves, how do I do better? Even if it's to wear earplugs, if it's to wear helmets. I remember I had a site in Didiko, and when you even give them helmets, they say it's slowing them down. Like it's burden. Yeah, a lot of laborers don't even like to wear the helmets. I'm not lying now. A lot of them don't like to wear it. They feel that it's slowing them down. But companies, if you're a registered company, you need to begin to insist on those things because litigation will come. It's a matter of time. There's a limit to how you will push host communities, how you push the environment and litigation, and they won't fight back. Litigation will have to come at some point. And by the time litigation will come, a lot of mining companies will now start to shout. But we need to start doing the right thing. And I think that's the way forward now. Let's begin to do the right thing in our in our own little ways. And I listed it with some things here. I'll just read it out. For us to be ESG compliance at the company, enhance corporate reputation and improve stakeholders' participation, perception of the company, create a positive synergy with sector regulator, that's with government and other government actors, mitigate operational risk, mitigate community dispute, aid the establishment of social license. So don't just say that in a developing country like Nigeria, you don't just say that we have collected our license, make sure you are doing the right thing. If you are producing there, continue to take care of the community. Managerial decision making, enhance the ability of company to attract, retain, and motivate talent and foreign investors. Improve the development of Nigerian content, improve employment, performance, resource efficiency, cost saving, productivity. Once again, I hope I've not bored you. I hope I've answered the question of ESG. My name is Tunu Taiwo, and have a beautiful morning.
I think she deserves a bigger round of applause because I've also learned more about ESG from her presentation. So now before we move to the first panel discussion, okay, I would like to recognize the presence of the Assistant Controller Sheson Ajayi from the Nigerian Immigration Service. Thank you very much. So we just move to the panel discussion. Yeah, so um, Alaji, Alaji Umar Abbas will be moderating the session, and I think I will leave you to introduce your panelists.
Okay. Alhaji Umar, you're welcome, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, I'm excited to be the moderator of this panel, and carrying along with me, I have uh, our speaker that just ended, Student Taiwo, and welcome on board. and the representative of the Minister of Mines and Steel. Welcome on board. I have a young engineer, Remu Lukman. Unfortunately, we have one of our panelist members is not present, but if I can have somebody that will be able to contribute or volunteer to replace, I have good questions for that person. From among the audience. Oh, the president has taken over. No, excuse me, I think you. Thank you for having me here, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a 45-minute session. We are going to hit the nail on the head. Mr. President, I'm going to start with you. How can the artisanal and small-scale mining policies be effectively tailored to balance the economic opportunities of gemstone extraction and environmental sustainability and social responsibility? Yeah, I take it slowly. How can the ASM, artisanal and small-scale mining policy, be effectively tailored to balance the economic opportunities of gemstone extraction with environmental sustainability and social responsibility?
Okay, let me respond to that briefly. The policies of ASM, like I talked about in the presentation of my director, we talked about organizing the artisans, registering them, and sensitizing them on quite a number of issues. But one thing that we do in recent times, which the suggestion has gone and is very effective, is that we do what we call, we register what we call mining cooperative societies. But what we do is we register community-based mining cooperative societies. It has really worked in some communities, and this is the way it works. If you know the community belongs to you, and whichever company comes there will be going, but you will remain, the community will remain with you, and you are now a stakeholder because the cooperative society, the mining company that is registered in that community, you are a stakeholder. Some of the people, some of their children or their people that are in that community are part of they form part of the executive members of that cooperative. That way, they participate. That way, they also ensure that the environment is not totally devastated or destroyed. Because if that happens, it means that they are the losing end.
Thank you very much.
There is that organization, there is the sensitization, and there is the registration of the cooperative, which is community-based.
Thank you very much. I was trying to ask you about the sensitization. I'm sure there are many people here that are not aware of such programs coming up. The registration of the cooperative society has been going on for years in this sector, but nothing tangible has been done. And I think lack of sensitization caused that.
I want the ASM man to talk about it so that we know exactly what the present situation is. I think the ministry is over concentrating on these cooperative societies because actually what we have in Nigeria, the bulk of the people that are working in Nigeria, they are the small scale miners. And those are the people that you can focus on. The small scale miners, they best know how to organize the laborers and be able to monitor them. If care is not taken, by organizing community-based cooperatives, you may have the community-based cooperatives be in competition and frustrating the work of the small-scale miners. The small-scale miners are the ones that are in the best position to actually benefit and make the best use of any kind of assistance because they are already organized. They are corporate bodies, registered limited liability company with their titles, and then of course the mining method they may be using may not be the most efficient. They also talk about lack of funds. And I know some of the work of the ASM department was how can the government actually help in terms of facilitating access to affordable funding? Because definitely Nigerian banks, there is no way you can be able to, you know, take their loan and then be able to survive. Because when you talk about a loan of, let's say, about 18% or 22% interest rate, definitely you can survive. And that's why we say there is need for government intervention. Thank God that the ASM is registering, but don't register only the cooperatives. Also enumerate the small scale mining companies because we call that department artisanal and small scale. Don't concentrate on the artisanal aspect and forget about the small scale. Because some years back, the World Bank introduced a project which they called grant to the ASM companies, and a lot of grants went, and not a single small-scale miner benefited from that grant. Much of that grant went to some cooperatives, and those cooperatives, I don't think we can even find them now. If those grants have been given to small scale miners, you can trace it. And I remember the minister then was saying this model that the World Bank had been practicing, they would have implemented it in some other countries, it would have failed, they will still be recycling it, and they will still come and implement it in our environment. And at that meeting, it was made known to the minister that actually there are small scale miners. Then Minister Obi Ezekwesili said, let the small scale miners be brought into the same room with me and let them enumerate their problems. I will be ready to attend to their problems. But the civil servants, they never made that meeting to happen because they were interested in dealing with only cooperative society, which can just fizzle into thin air after the project has been implemented. So please focus more on the small scale miners and let the small scale miners organize the artisans. They know how to do it best.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Adding up to what the President just said, I happen to know some few people that are beneficial to the to the grant, and some of them got married with the money. Some of them, yeah, because they are not really minors. It's an opportunity for them to group themselves into cooperatives and become city miners. They only exist on the papers, not on the field. So the mines personnel here, you heard what is going on, and I'm sure most of you know what is happening.
Well, let me just respond briefly to that. Obviously, like he said, he is my boss because we're together in the ASF department. Now, definitely there is emphasis on the artisanal miners, but that is not to say in any way that effort is not made in terms of organizing the small scale mining operators. In fact, it was one of the proposals immediately after the grant program that we said we have to ensure that for the purpose of small scale operators benefiting from government funds or interventions, that something needs to be done. It was in that regard that another form was designed to now register small scale mining operators, which is still ongoing. So there is room for the capturing of the small scale mining operators, which of course, most of them, they are they have licenses in terms of documentation. Definitely they do better than the artisanal miners. But why the emphasis on the artisanal miners is because government does not really want to talk about illegality. We are trying to make them formalize them, make them, give it a name that let it not be a ground for all manner of these things, bad things. So that is why it does appear that there is emphasis on the artisanal miners. Thank you.
I think I love your voice, but I'm going back to Mr. President. This question, I'm coming back to you shortly. The Mm. This question should go to the mines Minister of Mines representative, but I think you can take it. As a potential miner, which I know many of us here are, or gem dealer, without many engineering background and want to venture into the sector, how will you advise or guide on how to go about it? And what operational document?
I think, thank God that Tundu is here. She's a miner and she is the lawyer. And I think lawyers are learned, so they know so many things. But of course, there is no way they will know mining. And there is a rule that says there must be a professional to, be employed by mining company. People can come from any walk of life and start their business, but the mining business, but you must get a mining engineer to be, your professional guide in that regard. In fact, the law requires it. You have to talk about section. It used to be section 36. I don't know what section it is now, 50 something now, manager. So definitely you need that. And then of course, you need, the thing is this, when it comes to mining, it's just, a lot of sequential activities. First of all, you want to know where the resource is. First of all, you don't want to just go somewhere and start digging the ground. You need the geological survey. Definitely, a lot of maps, a lot of bulletins. Some of the old ones, some of the new ones, they have even been digitalized. So you can go there and study the geological maps and know where. There is also even the mineral map where you can know what is occurring where, and then you go and do your, mapping, which is like on the spot mapping. And then, of course, you go into prospecting into exploration. You do detailed exploration. And then, of course, for you to do all that, you need to get all your titles right. You have to go to the mining cadastral office and then you apply. So, but the law is such that we are in competition as indigenous miners because the law says even foreigners can own 100% shares in any mining venture. In that particular provision was put into the law to be able to attract FDI, foreign direct investors, people with technical competence and with the financial capability. So that is basically what you are.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think I should go choose our mining engineer, like mining lawyer. What specific, being in the mining field, I heard your presentation is very interesting. It's like you have dual experience, both the legal and the practical mining aspect. That I'm going to ask you what specific exploration technique can be employed in the gemstone industry to minimize environmental impact while maximizing the chances of discovering valuable deposit. Gemstone, sir.
What specific exploration methods should be employed? So I think that right now we have this satellite mapping. So if you want to minimize exploration and environmental degradation, it's still very expensive. I know that there's a company in Tokyo, your state, to bring it to for miners in your state, but we are looking at the whole of Nigeria, where they'll bring drone and tell you this is where you should dig. That's is still very expensive. But I think that it will save us the hassle of first digging about. But I'm sure geologists also know how to get the pegmatites they are looking for and how to trace it. There are a lot of methods with that.
All right, thank you. It's very brief, but Mr. President, you want to say something?
Yeah, I think the gemstone exploration method, is a little bit, because definitely you are looking at pegmatites, and the cavities in which gemstones can be found in the pegmatites, they occur erratically. And that is why, when it comes to mining gemstone, it's difficult to get funding because you don't know when you are going to see the cavity. And you don't know whether the crystals that are going to be contained in the cavity, they are of any value at all. It could just be black tourmaline. And then, of course, before you now be able to get to the real thing. So the thing is that it's a kind of high risk thing. And the exploration method, which has been tried and tested, is the what they call the GPR, the ground penetrating radar method. And I have done a little bit of work in that regard. It's just like you scan the rock to be able to identify the areas where we have localized cavities. Sometimes some of them, the resolution can be such that you can even see the crystals. But of course, what it will not tell you is the quality of those crystals. And I think we need to build capacity in that regard because there are some of them, if the place is dry and hard rock, they can penetrate as far as 10 meters. So those are the ones that we need to really get hold of. The equipment is about $50,000, but even at that, we can collectively, as an association, maybe acquire that machine. But we still need the expertise. By the time you get the data, you collect the data using the machine, you still need expert people to help you analyze the data to be able to make sense out of what you have recorded. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tundun, I'm still with you here. Going by your legal background, we have situations whereby after going through all the hurdles of getting the licenses, discovering the deposit, start the mining operation, and some certain external forces will come up with policies that will prevent me from carrying on the mining activities there. I'm talking about state government involvement in the mining industry, which I believe the mining industry is in the exclusive list, right? Which the state government have no power to tamper on. So now we have cases with new government coming up with policies and stopping mining operations across the country. What do you have to say about that?
Thank you. The law is clear. Um, Mining is in the exclusive list. Solid mineral is in the exclusive list. Every sort of minerals. But the question a lot of states have asked is how do they generate fund? How do they generate revenue? And I think that's why they are coming into the site. And I've said to more than one state that you can only treat mining as every other commodity and not treat mining as a revenue in your land. You can only treat if you are taxing for farming and they bring the beans and you say pay under SITA, that's Company Matters Act, then they will pay their tax. If they are supposed to, and SITA is even federal government, it's personal income tax you can tax on the state level. All you have to do is encourage people that when they fill their form, especially for export, they write the state is from so you can get your 13% derivative. And I'd said to I know that a state brought up some rules and now they are dragging them, and that's Nasarawa. And the question has been you cannot tell us where to mine or not to mine. You can only give us consent, and it's actually the landowners that give consent. For states, a lot of them are getting into the business of doing mining, which there's nothing wrong with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tundun. I have a young mining engineer here with me. Um, I'm going to throw this question regarding the principles of environmental, social, and governance, which Tundun has already said much about. How can Gemstone exploration practices be aligned with these principles to ensure that the local communities benefit ecosystems are preserved, and ethical practices are held throughout the exploration process.
All right, thank you very much for the question. I think the marketing aspect of the gemstone industry, there are major stakeholders, and being a major stakeholders, there should be a transparent communication channel that should be established between them and the government. And this communication channel should center or focus around the policies that is going to improve the economic sustainability of the host economy, of the host community rather. And how can they achieve this? Is by seeking the input of the community leaders in the society and also carry them along in decision-making processes to discuss issues that are affecting them in the community. Some of the socioeconomic benefits that the community can as well benefit from the mining industry in their community uh, will be in form of engaging the youth in the community. Probably if those youth are unemployed, if they are gainfully employed, at least it's going to give them a sense of belonging and it's going to reduce social vices in the community. Also, there could be some small scale business enterprise within the community. So those people can as well be assisted or supported in any little way the mining industry can. I think that is a few contribution I have to say in respect to that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lukman.
Maybe I just
Mr. President, you have anything to add on?
I think talking about ESG, Tondo already spoke extensively about it. But thank God that she said that she's on both sides, both the company, because she's also a miner. So she knows where the shoe is pinching us, you know. So, but the only thing I would advise is that just like we talk about mining being on the exclusive list, the state government they may want to draw some revenue, you know, from the activities of the mining companies, but they should do it the right way. And just like Tundu mentioned, even within the present regulatory framework, the state government can also form their own company and get licenses, you know, over some of the mineral deposits in their land. But of course, I think they should just limit themselves to the area of mineral promotion, promotion of, you know, doing some exploration work and then getting partners to go with them. Because if they want to go the whole hog of saying they want to go and invest in mining, it will eventually end up to be wasting of public funds. We, at the federal level, the federal government did it. Nigerian Mining Corporation was there, Nigerian Coal Corporation, even Nigerian Uranium Mining Company. They, at a stage, government saw that they were just sinking money into those parastatals, and nothing was actually coming out. At the end of the day, they had to commercialize and then they privatize those ones. The state government, they don't even have the financial muscle that the federal government had then when they were practicing the issue of a mining corporation and all the rest. So the best thing is let them establish a mineral promotion company, and the state government should not also be acting from the position of ignorance, because I know there are some of them that are always believing that, okay, once they hear somebody is mining, they believe it's just making all the money as if you just pick the gold. Whereas mining is a capital intensive and technology intensive project, and it's a long term kind of, so we must look at it from the long term perspective. There was this, there are some Australians that I was involved with, and they came to Nigeria and they saw the policies being implemented, especially at the ministerial level. And they said, look, what we want to do is this. Let us go and meet your minister. This short-term approach of expecting that we are going to make money quickly, we have to make sure that we debunk that. That anytime they go for Ndaba, they will take them, they will take the minister and his team to Zimplat. Zimplat is the Zimbabwe platinum mine. so that they will see the operation of zinc plant and they will be able to follow the history of zinc plant such that they will know what the zinc plant went through, how the government was very patient with zinc plant. When they established the reserve of platinum in Zimbabwe, they now started development. The whole of the infrastructure for the entire area was developed by zinc plant. That is the advantage of looking at it from the long perspective and then nurturing the investment. So at the end of the day, there was an 85-kilometer road from Harare to that particular location. It was constructed by zinc plant. So the long-term effect is that the infrastructure development in the rural areas, once the mining company comes on stream, after the waiting time, after the gestation period, you are sure to have, a very long-term advantage and development of infrastructure in the rural area. So please, let's look at it from that perspective.
Let me just add briefly. I'm going to be very brief. Two things. Number one, there is a need for sensitization. Do we have the legal framework and the laws that are there concerning the environmental and the social issues, yes, ESG, as she has talked about. But sensitization is very important. Let me come down to that. She did talk about before you obtain a mineral title, which is a license, you need to have a consent. But then at this stage, what happens? The community, do they know what they should be expecting? Do they know what it entails after they have signed this consent? Do they know ABCD? This is where there is need for serious sensitization, for them to know what it entails after you've issued out this consent. It's not a matter of you give out the consent today, tomorrow you say we are revoking our consent. There are issues like that. It doesn't really work that way. And then the second one is on the side of the company. Before you mobilize to sign and begin to work, you are supposed to have gone to the CDA that she talked about. Now, at that level, the CDA, the companies too should understand that, well, you may be thinking you are wise, you just go meet the king, you settle A, B, C, D. At the end of the day, issues may still come up. So try to see how you can carry the community along. See how you can carry the people along, the youth, the women, the children, and every other party that is involved. Something that will definitely benefit the community that goes beyond just the king or the head of those communities. Thank you very much. Then the other implementation is, she talked about the CDA, the environmental impact assessment. There is need for monitoring and ensuring that those things that are there are well implemented. Thank you.
I'm very happy you know all this, and I hope you take it up to the office and put it into practice. Because what happened is from your office. And if you know so much like this and we're still having this problem, I think you need to do something. Because I know all I know where most of novice here doesn't understand compliance, this and that. All you know is Ministry of Mines and Steel. He is from the Ministry of Mines and Steel. ASM, DSM, FSM, they are all under the Ministry of Mines. So that's what we know. We don't know anything about them. All we know is you are in the Ministry of Mines. Take it to the relevant department. Let them do the needful.
The issue is this. I started with the community. They should also know. It's not good to say, let me just get this and get away with it. You may get it today. How about tomorrow? I also talked about the companies. The companies have a role to play. Do not think you are wise. If I just capture one person, it's all of
you. Did a good job.
It is all of us. We all have a role to play to make it work. Thank you.
I have a limited time, and I have a question that is very important. Most of us. Yeah, I'm going to throw questions. I'm going to give 10 questions to the audience. I'll come to that. 10 questions, 1 minute each question. 15 minutes to round up. And the last question I'm going to throw to each of you here is regarding the revenue. I'm sure the Minister of Mines most concerned is the revenue aspect. And because of that, we have over multiple taxation on mines products. Many people don't know that royalty is supposed to be paid by the miner, right? Many people don't, because most of the people buying gemstones usually pay royalty before they take the gemstones out of the country. Then why what of the miner? If the miner is responsible for paying the royalty, and then while I taking it out of the country, I'll pay another royalty on the same mineral, on the same percentage of royalty or same method platform of royalty. You're shaking your head. It's like I'm saying something wrong. Yeah, because I know going by the Mineral and Mining Act, royalty payment supposed to be by the miner on record of all the mineral won or extracted from the title.
Yeah, in terms of mineral production, some minerals are produced by mining companies, legally extracting minerals from their mining lease. It is they have to pay on that part on their production. Now we have a lot of artisanal small-scale miners who are freelance miners running all over the place.
In other words, illegal miners, right?
You say what?
In other words, illegal miners, right?
Yes, illegal miners, but you don't call them illegal in ASM. You call them informal miners because yes, you call them informal miners because ASM is friendly to illegal miners, so to say. Then you call them informal miners, and you are trying to bring them into the legal net, so into the formal. You want to formalize them. That's why they are registering them. That's why they are educating them, sensitizing them, and even giving them extension services in order to be able to teach them.
But
now,
I have to stop.
I want to make a point there.
All right.
The point is that the production from artisanal and small-scale miners are captured under the mineral buying center, private mineral buying centers. So when a dealer, a gemstone dealer, buys stones from artisanal miners, you now capture it within the mineral buying center. He registers and he's registered, he has a certificate, he keeps records of it, and he pays royalty before taking it out of the country.
Encouraging illegality to legality. Yeah.
Can I speak on that, please? Let me speak on that.
Hold on. I'm going to reduce my questions to 4. 2 from each side. 2 females, 2 males. Before then, let me take up what is what.
Yes. Royalties on minerals is paid on, you pay royalty on a mineral title you've obtained. That's the first instance. Now, for somebody who owns a mine, mines his mineral, has already obtained a mineral title, maybe SSML, maybe QL, you pay royalty on that license. However, there are other set of operators who are not miners per se. They may be dealers, they may also be artisanal miners and all that. They are captured under other net. When we talk about operational titles, one of such operational titles is permit to purchase and possess. So there are no more, you don't really call them illegal people again after they have to obtain that mineral title to purchase and possess mineral. And if they purchase this mineral and they go ahead, they pay royalty on it, then their activities is no more illegal. The second one is the mineral buying center. We also encourage them, it's part of the formalization, to ensure that we track, we get data, we document their activities. So by the time we are able to get them at the mineral buying center, and then the materials that are there, they pay royalties on it. Of course, you will not say they are illegal again. Thank you.
Student, you have legal background on this. I'm not still satisfied with this. Because if as a company, mining company, pay tax royalty on all the mineral I want, and I sold it to you with your license to purchase and possess, I believe I'm supposed to issue receipt to you based on the payment you made to me, and present that receipt on your way taking out the minerals out of the country.
Once that receipt is shown, you don't need to pay again. That is it. Once a single person, let me give you an instance. He has a mineral title. There's what we call source of supply. And somebody wants to obtain a permit to purchase and possess, obtains it from him who is a mineral title holder. Once he has paid a royalty on the mineral he has won with that, which is sold to Party B, Party B is not supposed to pay royalty on it again. But most times, Party B will not be able to show that evidence of royalty payment on that particular mineral.
Because you're not doing your job.
No. Where did he get it from? Maybe part of the mineral he's getting, he may not have gotten all from him. So that is the issue.
So in other words, I think you should scrap out that phase of the law. Allow people to pay based on exit, like export.
No.
Because we do double taxation. The company pay, we pay. The company pay, the exporter pay. The
No.
middlemen go free.
Once the mineral you are holding, you can show evidence that royalty has been paid on that mineral. The ministry will not ask you to pay royalty again once you've been able to show that evidence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody again. I have one question each for our learned miner on the panel.
Are you talking about 4 questions or 1 question?
I say one question each. One
You have 4
question
questions.
each. That is 2 for 2 people.
Oh, 2 people. All
Yes. Let me start from our minister represented here. We thank you for all those beautiful things you told us about what you have been doing for the gemstone exploitation, processing, and marketing. And we also appreciate you for these international gemstones that you have just established here for us in Ibadan, for the Southwest. But we discovered that we made a request from the minister when he came, because if everyone wants to observe now, the volume of materials in the market now has decreased. The gemstones are not coming out as before. And what is the cause? The cause is simply because the minerals can no longer be found within the reach of digger and hammer. And there is this money, 5 billion naira solid, with Bank of Industry for years now, about 6 years now. I also thank God our Oga here has told you that you should concentrate less on artisanal miners, formalization that you don't, even after 1 or 2 years, you don't hear of them again. There are a lot of small-scale mining lease holders on the field, and there are a lot of clusters. Why can't the ministry consider using this loan, this facility, to facilitate equipment leasing agreements for some established clusters where all these loans are coming from? We have about more than 20 companies working around Ofiki-Komu axis. We have in Olode here, a lot of companies working here. We have all over the place in Ife. Why can't we consider, using this money to facilitate equipment leasing and reduce the cost of having to move equipment all the way from Ibadan to Komu, from Ibadan to Olode and all the likes? We want you to take this home, sir, and tell our minister that I think they should consider a better use of that money that has been lying down there for the past 6 years. And to our learned miner, you are a member of MBA. You are the secretary to the mining desk of section on business law. You are a member of the mining thematic group of Nigerian Economic Summit Group. You are a member of Women in Mining, and you're also a member of Miners of Nigeria. Yoruba says, maybe one of our MC will help me to interpret that in English. When àgbà kì í wà lọ́jà, orí ọmọ tuntun wọ́. With these your eminent positions, and with all the shenanigans going on in the country around mining regulatory policies now, why don't you consider using this your eminent position to initiate a conversation, at least for our governors, our state actors, to respect the oath that they swear to defend the Constitution by aligning themselves with the extant constitutional provisions and the laws governing mining regulations in Nigeria? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I'm going to be very brief. One thing we need to do most times is to take a step in the right direction. And that's exactly what the ministry did, but there is always room for modification. He talked about the grant that came up and then went to the wrong hands because it didn't really pass through the banks and the rest. This time around, when the 5 billion came up, it had to pass through the Bank of Industry for proper monitoring. That is what happened. However, it has not yielded the kind of result that you expect. But that is not to say it is over. It is work in progress. We are moving in the right direction. Our message will definitely will pass that. Because that's why at the end of conference like this, we have a communique. And then, aside that, you will also agree that even the cluster project that came up is equally a step in the right direction. These are all geared at ensuring that what you did talked about is taken care of. The issue of equipment leasing is well captured. The ministry is aware of it and is actually looking at it, especially if you talk about a place like Oyo State here. You go to Ilero, you go to Kegunaxis, you go to even Ido here. We have a lot of clusters in Oyo State, and it is the desire that we will, at the end of the day, have some equipment that will go into leasing to help the small scale miners. Thank you very much.
I'm going to answer by saying that I know that with the mining thematic group of the Nigerian NGSC, we've been engaging, and there's a lot of engagements going on with the NESG. And with the mining law committee, there's a transition going on. I'm still coming back on the community, but I think we're all just waiting for a letter, and we would see how we would engage the new administration on policies, on laws, on the Mining Act amendments that's been ongoing. Those are part of the things that we'll be doing on the platform of the Nigerian Bar Association. These are ongoing, but I think MBA conference just started and everybody's relieved of their post. But I'm coming back, and a number of us are coming back. But when we get our official letter to come back, we'll reconstitute and needed.
Thank you very much. Next question on this group. I'm expecting question on this side. Nobody with questions. I think they're all learners here. Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, you mentioned something like drones, so that and some of the equipment, so that we won't have effect on the environment. So at least I want to know, have the investment opportunity in that area, so that we, as an investment control officer from NICC, we know where to attract investment in. Thank you.
This question, Mr. President. Question. Okay. Okay.
Well, I think it's just difficult to do mining without disturbing the environment. Most of the time, the process is that you want to do the EIA and get the baseline data about the place so that government can hold the miner accountable in terms of returning the land to as much as possible its previous position. And also, you also, even while you are operating, you also want to see how you can mitigate the effect of the mining activity on the environment. Talking about the equipment to use, most of the time, it is the nature of the deposit that will determine the mining method. If it is a near surface deposit, then you just have to open up the earth surface and do open cast. Then what you do is that as you are mining, most of the time there is what you call open cast mining. You open up this place. As you are progressively going forward, you are backfilling where you have already worked. So it is not about the equipment per se. It is about the mining method and the mining design. And if it is a deep-seated deposit, then of course you go underground. When you are doing underground, you disturb the surface less, and then you go down and then you carry out all your activities underground. So the thing is that you want to, as much as possible, mitigate the effect on the environment. And of course, when you are doing the underground, you are required to actually fence your shaft right on the surface so that nobody will stray and fall into it. So those are some of the measures. But in terms of equipment, we are looking at excavator, we are looking at bulldozer, we are looking at drag line. There are so many equipment. But of course, the deposit is what will, by the time you look at the deposit and you look at what you call the morphology, the shape of it, and the stripping ratio in terms of whether it's deep-seated or very close to the surface, they will now do the mining design. When they do the mining design, it is the mining design that will dictate the kind of equipment that you are going to acquire. So that's the situation.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. On this side, anybody to? All right.
Good. My name is Augustine C. Onyakwel. I want to ask, having given us the opportunity to gather on, do we really have a procedure and operational guidelines for people who want to come into the mining section or the mining sector in line with global best practices? Number two, the mining sector, since I've earlier mentioned yesterday that it involves a lot of funding, are they considering the PPP arrangement? And also trying to see whether government can set aside a funding to accommodate the areas of bringing in the high technology that is needed, capacity building for the people that are in the sector, and also giving privilege for people to have this kind of engagement. Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
Okay. I want to ask question and drive through an idea, a little idea I have about gemstones. We have some friends, some partners that got to know much about gemstones because they've been in the business, maybe the forefathers, and they learn it through how they started the business, really, and all that. And they know so much about gemstones. They can identify cracks, they can identify a lot of things. They can even tell you the names of some of these gems. And they did not have a formal education on gemstones. A lot of universities in technology and gems. Of the ministry to drive down the idea of studying most. This is
West Africans. They take undue advantage of this because in the field, a lot of people don't have this education. So they rely on the little education some of our northerners and the few people that know gems have. And they can tell you easily, this one is not very good. This a formal education and technical know-how of this, you give in into whatever this rare gems as bad ones to them, and they take undue advantage of Nigerians.
Thank you very much. I'm done taking questions. I want to make a little clarification to what the last speaker just said. I happen to be one of those people you are trying to explain. Yeah. But I can assure you that there are curriculums, there are places you can learn, you can be certified. I was born in the gem business. I knew the gem right from childhood. But then I had to go to National Institute of Mines, Nigerian Institute of Mines. I think the Nigerian Institute of Mine and Geosciences now is in Jos. And there is GI in Gemological Institute of Nigeria, which is in line with the practices of Gemological Institute of America. You can go there, you can get certified on gem identification. Excuse me. So you threw the question to the ministry, but I have taken it up because I don't believe the answer should come from the ministry. The ministry is only a regulating body, but we the stakeholders we can form ourselves. You yourself you can form an institution on how to teach or guide people on how to identify gems, how to appraise, how to do this and that. I'm only giving you a suggestion. If you need further education on that, there is GIN in Abuja. You can go there, you get certified, and you get all the training you need in terms of identifying and appraising gemstones. Thank you. All right, go ahead.
In addition to what the president said with respect to the identification of mineralized zones, I think where technology is going now is in the aspect of remote sensing and GIS. So there are some remotely sensed data that can be used to identify areas that are highly mineralized or not. For instance, land use land cover can be obtained when we make use of land use land cover map from a USGS website to actually produce the land use land cover map. That is which area is meant for imaging, if the area is vegetation, wetland, and what have you. But in the case of gemstones now, there are some sensors that can actually be acquired, like LIDAR, light detection and ranging. So this can produce a 3D maps and it's going to show both the vertical and lateral extent of the mineralized zone within the earth crust. I think that is the addition. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have come to the end of this season in order to allow the next panelist to come up. Thank you very much. Sorry. Yeah. The president.
You asked the question about how to, enter into the mining industry according to the world global best practice. Yes, the procedures are there because if you go to the mining cadastral website, you are going to see the processes of obtaining titles, whether exploration title, small scale mining lease, or even if it is reconnaissance permit. The procedures are there. All you have to do is to visit the site and then learn about it. And I already talked about some practical steps, apart from the legal steps now that you need to take in terms of going to geological survey and getting a lot of information about the mineral resources of Nigeria so that you can be able to choose which kind of minerals do you want to go and explore or exploit, and then where are those minerals located. So those are some of the things you have to do. But of course, you need to go and consult some professionals as well. Thank you.
I'm sorry for not answering your question.
photograph. And let's appreciate once again highly resourceful panelists for a great job they've done. We're going to move to the next set of panel. That particular segment will be moderated by Mr. Okpara. No, Jeremiah, I know, Osisonya. Much more later. Get ready for yours. But right now, they were here yesterday. The strong, powerful team from Oshun, my state. That's my state as well, right? So, so much was said yesterday concerning the role of government. Somebody raised a poster about the law setting up the Ministry of Mining, especially when it comes to enforcement, and how state governments are also duplicating that, setting up task forces, right? And that it looks conflicting. Well, I think it's good to hear from the representative of His Excellency, the Governor of Osun State. I don't know whether it's official now that when you represent your principal, you do most of the things that the principal is known for. He will make a remark, and I hope he's going to start by dancing because the government. Honorable Commissioner for Investment, Cooperative and Trade in Osun State, he was here yesterday, and the powerful team from Osun. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming with his lovely, beautiful wife. Let's welcome him as he makes a brief remark. I hope dance will be one of it. Right? Is the Reverend Bumitenyo? Everyone like the war. I've only left for one.
Good afternoon. I want to stand on the protocol because I wasn't here when the program started. Apologies. For my governor has compelled me that I should be here to support this mission for 3 days. And that is why all my team, from my person and the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and all the directors, they are all here since yesterday. So for you to know that my governor has given you a special recognition, and that is why I deliver his message personally yesterday. And I'm giving report to him. Again now, asking me to do what my governor does best, it's going to be very difficult because I will not be able to do it the way he does it. But nevertheless, no music around. Thus, no music. Thus, I cannot do same. I say congratulations to the organizers of this event. You will say this is one of the best conferences being attended by my person. Internationally, and by the time you do your second year running, I'm sure you're going to perfect it more than this. But the rating is of the high level, and I congratulate you once again. For the past 35 years, I've traveled around the world. So if I can give you rating of this, I am not flattering you. For a starter, this is one of the best. Congratulations. A few remarks. This is not authorized by the governor, but my observation as a member of the ESCO, Ocean State ESCO, because governor does not speak twice in an event. But on a personal note, as the Commissioner for Commerce and Industry of Ocean State, I want to give some advice to the miners or the critical stakeholders in this business. Number one, most miners do have loyalty to the federal government and with no recourse to the state where they domicile. They are more obliged to the federal government. Whereas, if we don't give you a conducive environment, you will not be able to operate your business in that state. So I'm advising that your loyalty must be divided both to the federal government and the state government. And I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to get at. Because, you know, we have miners in Osun State. Since we started our administration, since my principal started as the governor of Osun State, 27th of November last year, we can see that most miners, especially the big players, they do not have their loyalty with the state government. Authoritatively, I'm speaking, which is not good economically for the state. And I hope the federal government, in their wisdom, will be able to encourage states in terms of giving back. I know the state is entitled to 13% or whatever the amount they are giving to them. Yes. So Osun State is looking forward to this. The representative of the minister, don't forget, we want our money. We want our own dividend from the share. Share the money. So they say in the East. Number two, the miners, I want to advise, you need to take care of the environment that you mine from. The damages that is being done in the communities that you operate from is eyesore. In Osun State, for example, if you go to Elisha, Axis, if I'm praying in the next 30, 40, 50 years that will not have problem in that environment because the miners do not. Though my principal, His Excellency, Governor Ademola Adeleke, is working hard on the environmental treatment, which we've inherited so many damages. But I want to advise the miners that please help the state in controlling the environmental damages. It is very important. Look after where you make your money. Like the Yoruba will say, if you want to eat from the kitchen, you must be able to take the heat of the kitchen. So please, it is very important. Number three, social responsibility to the community where you are making your money. Most people just make money, especially the foreigners, being aided by the nationals. I mean, the native individuals. No, you must compel those people, especially the foreigners or any indigenous company, to satisfy or to apply to the social responsibility of that community, i.e., construction of roads, the creating schools, encouraging that society. Give back to the society. It is very important. Don't just believe, let me make money and run away. The Yoruba will say, I don't know, MC will help me translate it into English. Òjò kan, wọ́n ní kì í pààyàn wọlé kan lẹ́ẹ̀mejì. But these days, at least since I've been alive now, I know òjò ń pààyàn wọlé kan lẹ́ẹ̀mẹwàá. So let's take care of the environment. Thank you, and I wish you very best of this conference.
And the DJ refused to play the song, right? We will have a very light entertainment now. Somebody will be performing. And while that performance is going on, we can have a coffee break or tea break, as the case may be. Elana Africa, it's time for you to bring the rich cultural heritage of our land into bear now. You're going to see a drummer, you've seen one already, percussionist, an artist. She's truly daughter of the source, princess of Ile-Ife, Gemstone. Elana Africa, Gemstone marketer. Let's take a listen.
It's a privilege to be here. Eka song. Barka de jama'a. Muna nan lafiya. Yawwa. We're here. We all look beautiful because of the stones. Everybody is a gem here. That's why you all look beautiful. So, before work is being done, we need security in our land. And that's why I'm here to give, everybody that encourage to do the best that we can do. It is ours. We have no other home. So
The next segment started. The last guest. From that you know, from that you don't even know. I think this moment is more than having a cup of coffee. You can also get a cup of coffee and be listening. You know, they are both in sync. One thing I believe the conveners of today's event, including the guests that are also here.
My name is Mr. Adekoya Oshisoya. I'm a jeweler, and I'll be speaking on the rudiments of gemstone in jewelry making and marketing. After all said and done, since yesterday, the rock, the stones end up with the jewelers. And that's why I've been given this opportunity, being a jeweler, to speak on the rudiments of gemstone in jewelry manufacturing and its marketing. A gemstone is a mineral or rock which can be used in jewelry after cutting or faceting and polishing it. Why? Because if you don't cut it to the shape you want, if you don't polish it, it's not attractive. If you look at it in the when it is mined, it's just like a rock. But by the time it comes to us, by the time it is polished, then it's attractive to the eye. They have been sought after the after for thousands of years for the beauty, metaphysics properties, and commercial uses. In earlier times, there were no such things as synthetic gemstone, but today we have different types. Why? Because for every good product, you are expected to have imitations of it. So there are some stones that that are synthetic that looks at gemstone, but then they don't have the same quality as gemstones. Gemstones are diverse in beauty and may be available in a stunning variety of colors. Most gemstones have little beauty in the rough state, as I said. They may look like ordinary rocks or pebbles, but after a skilled cutting of a gemstone, its full colors shows and luster can be seen on the basis of its formation. Gemstone can be classified in 5 categories. The natural one, the one that is being mined as rock. These are being formed in natural environments with no interference by human. They form in a variety of ways in many different environments, from different chemicals compounds. By the time they appear in our jewelry, they have been cut, polished, but they have not been treated or altered in other forms. Then the synthetic ones. That is the original one that is being mined. That is the first one. Then synthetic gemstones. These share a natural structures, physical, chemical, and optical qualities, but it is created in a laboratory. Nowadays, synthetic version of nearly all popular gemstones are available in the market. Some modern synthetic gemstones look more natural and are different to identify, are difficult to identify. But an experienced jeweler or a gemologist can usually select or detect them. Jewelry that includes quality synthetic gems can just be as beautiful as jewelry made with natural stone. Then the third one, which is the imitation or stimulated gemstone. This can be anything that can resemble a natural gemstone, but does not have the same physical characteristics or chemical composition. These items are usually much less expensive than the natural one. Because the most important thing is why they go for all these fake one is just the fact that the natural one are very expensive. It's like diamonds. These days you have mosaic as diamond. But when you test it, if you use the normal small testing diamond, when you use it to test it, it comes as diamond. But then when you now invest in it, now you now take it abroad to sell. You now discover they are synthetic diamonds. The same way we have gemstones that are synthetic. So in buying, you need to be very careful. You need to get in touch with the expert so that they test it and you know what you are buying, so that you don't just invest in what is not worth investing in. They can come in natural form. Imitation stones are often made of glass, plastics, and most can be detected easily by a jeweler. When you want to buy, it is always good to go to a jeweler to identify that particular gemstone, or you go to a gemologist for them to identify, because there are a lot of them outside that are fake, and you have to be very careful so that you don't just lose your money. Then you have treated gemstone. A number of techniques are used to improve the color and appearance of natural and synthetic gemstone. Gemstone beauty is enhanced to increase the desirability and demand of the gemstone. Probably by oldest method is that of heat treatment for gemstone to improve or change the color. As a result of recent advances in technology, there are many different techniques which are used in modern equipment such as laser and computer-controlled etching and irritating procedure. Lasers are used to drill holes with stones to reach inclusion. These are evaporated or removed using chemicals because of the cracks. Now, in some of the those are the disadvantages you get when those things are fake. In the course of trying to polish it to look original, there are cracks, there are other things, but when they get treated, they still look beautiful. So if you are not careful, you might fall into buying the wrong gemstone. For example, are fillings. Stains and fillings may leak. Some heated and irritated stones may fade or revert to original color because they are not original. It's like when you invest in imitation gold too, they are plated, you start to use it. Over time, they begin to fade. In the same way, gemstones that are not natural, over time they begin to fade and the color begins to reveal itself. Beauty and appearance of a gemstone. A gemstone is prized especially for the great beauty or perfection in appearance. It's almost the most important attribute of gemstone. You see, when you see original gemstone, the beauty of it is in its appearance. It's like when you see diamond, diamond glitters. The luxury in it you see. And as such, in gemstone, the beauty will depend on its color, the size, and the way it sparkles. Color is the most important gemstone characteristics, whereas size and shape also have huge role in enhancing the beauty of gemstone. Gemstone speckles enhance its beauty in a great manner. In a way, all stones reflect light from their surfaces. And ideally, all the light entering the stones from any angle will escape by the top of the stone. That's why we as dwellers, when we want to mount stone, I mean, a lot of us who are not dwellers might not really understand what I'm trying to say. You don't cover the stone entirely because for it to shine, you allow light rays to fall. That is when the beauty comes out. Durability and hardness are other aspects which are considered as important characteristics of a gemstone. Regardless of how beautiful a gemstone may appear, for it to be suitable as gemstone, it will need to be reasonable, durable, and hard. There are other numerous different ways of considering hardness, but the main one for gemstone is their resistance to abrasion. You know, an original gemstone is always difficult for it to have stains on it. When you scratch it, so it's like diamond too. When you are working with diamond, when diamond is hot, you can afford to put it in water. If you do other things, other stones in water, when you heat it up, you put it in fire, it will crack. Then diamonds are very difficult to have scratches on it. In the same way, all these original gemstones are always difficult to have scratch on it. Those are the things you can look for, how you can test it, even where you don't have jewelers or the gemologist to help you test test so that you don't just put your money on everything. Then jewelry manufacturing. For you to, after the polishing, all sorts, it comes to the jeweler. You don't want to work on it. Now, you need a particular design. Maybe your customer has a particular design in mind. So you need to have your design, know what you want to do from the beginning. Then the design will also affect the cutting of the stone. A stone that is square, the design you give it, it would be different from the one that is round. So from the beginning, you need to have a design as a jeweler on what you want to do. Now, the second point is called CAD or CAM. CAM is just that you design, after the designing, it's like a sketch. You know how many meter this will be, the length, the breadth, you take notice of that. Then the third step will be model making. You make a model of it so as to guide you in making that particular, if it's earring, if it's ring, if it's bangle, if it's brooch, whatever you want to do, you need to sketch it out. Then the waxing, you do a wax of it. That is, all this has to do with casting. There are other ways they do it in the olden days, which does not take this route. But in the modern day now, you can, when it is for casting, you can do it this way. But there are other ways you can do it too, manually, traditionally, in which once you melt your gold, you design it, you can have a sketch of it, then from there you take it up. But in this case, which I'm explaining, it has to do with 3D casting and whatever. Then after your casting, which is the seventh step, is called grinding. You grind it, you smoothen it, you file it, you assemble it, and it gets to a pre-polishing stage where you begin to polish for it to start to shine. And in doing this, it will have, if it's gold, it will have gone through a lot of fire. You fire it, it softens it. It's a long process anyway. But to those that are not, to the jewelers, they will understand me more. But to a layman, you just see, okay, gold comes out looking good, but it will have gone through a lot of processes. You fire, it softens, you file, you polish, you look at the finishing, which is very most important. Because the beauty of all of this at the end of the day is for it to shine. So that when people see it on you, they love it. Even from afar, it shines. The process of making jewelry is called fabrication. It's rather a broad topic that includes everything from basics assembling to creating handmade jewelry. Jewelry is fabricated by joining precious metals, segments, or parts by soldering or welding into position. There are times as jewelers, you have gold. In gold, we have white gold, we have rose gold, we have the white gold, the rose gold, and the yellow gold. There are times we combine the three. So for you to combine the three, you have to join them using solder, which is a process of soldering. Then after soldering, you begin to bend. As you are bending, you warm, you heat it. That's just the term. Why do you have to warm it or to heat it? It's just to soften it. Because at that stage, especially white gold is much stronger than the rose gold and the yellow gold. And for it not to lose shape, at every interval you warm, and in softens you bend it till you get the desired whatever you want. If it's ring, if it's brooch. The three main components used in jewelry are gold, like I said, silver, and you have platinum. There are other metals, palladium and what have you, steel, goldsmiths don't use all that. Although there are other jewelers, I would still call them jewelers, that does imitation. After using all those palladium and what have you, they can now plate it. That's why when you begin to use, it fades away. But if it's original gold in its natural state, it will remain. Then I go to marketing. After you might have made all your gold, now you want to market to the world. You need to build a shopper friendly website, keeping aesthetics in mind. You need a website to advertise, to show what you have, the good product you have, to show it to the world, so that when they see it, they are attracted, they will be able to want to buy. Then number two, you post the images of the jewelry you want to offer.
In Nigeria, in Ministry of Interior under the Department of Services.
That there are so many